me. Да. Идем сюда, да, ты смеешься, идем сюда. Раз, два. Ой, ой. Дай, да. Все. Ну дай мне только зеленый мячик.
Не, нет места. Нет места.
Стоп, 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 стоп. Опа! Мало. О, это хорошо, набери это.
Хориватада? Подарок. Ой! Упси! Воу! Ни ого! Воу! Bye-bye, шалом. Воу! Bye-bye! Bye-bye, everybody! Опа! Hey! Hip! It's the least we can do.
Hey everybody, this is an episode of Follow the Nose. This is where we interview funny people about serious things. Today my guest is Ariel Keren. Hi Ariel.
Hi Chad, and hi everyone who's watching.
Thanks for being here. Ariel is a part of the organization Dream Doctors out of Tel Aviv, Israel. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about some of your experiences. I wanted to ask you a little bit about yourself and also about Dream Doctors. And then I also want to go into your experience of clowning on the border of Ukraine. You just got back from Moldova, and I definitely want to hear a lot about that. That sounds like a really powerful experience. And we just watched that video, which was very, very compelling. So let's just start though first with a little bit about yourself. If you could tell us where you come from originally, where you live now, maybe a little bit. Obviously, you're a clown, and maybe a little bit of your background in clowning and how you got here, and then how you got to Dream Doctors.
Okay, so if we're going to talk as Ariel for a
Of
bit,
course, let's do it.
I'm going to give the nose its respect. So my name is Ariel Keren. I'm 39 years old. I was born and raised in Jerusalem in Israel. I'm a father of three, and I still live next to Jerusalem here in Israel. And I'm, like you said, part of the Dream Doctors Project, which is an organization that has all the medical clowns in Israel. We have more than 100 clowns in more than 30 hospitals here in Israel. Where we go inside the departments, we go inside therapies, we go inside operating rooms, and we try to ease the pain, to distract, to help the parents, to help the medical staff, to help the cleaning staff, and to have a fun environment of joy and happiness and smiling, and that a lot of the time reduces the time of hospitalization. Because it reduces the stress, and it makes the kids cooperate with all the different treatments that they get. So I have been a Dream Doctor for already 8 years. I started, before that, I was a social worker, and I also did a degree in acting. I went to an acting studio in Israel for 3 years. So I'm an actor and a clown. And that's what I've been doing the past 10, 12 years.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. So you found your way to Dream Doctors, and I understand it sounds like they do a lot of different things, obviously in hospitals, but also you go to areas of crisis. We use the term crisis clown. Do you guys use that term, crisis clown? What would you refer to this kind of work?
What? Just a clown that goes to a humanitarian relief mission.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we're still medical clowns, we guess.
Okay.
But but we treat the spirit and the soul of people, which is so much forgotten during times of crisis. Because during times of crisis, you always try to aid their physical needs. They need a bed, shelter, a blanket, a coat, food, which is very important, of course, but not a lot of emphasis goes to the mental spirit and treating them mentally and emotionally, and what goes through a kid's feelings during these times, because they are forced to be adults during these times. You know, if they flee their home, then you need to pack your suitcase, and you need to not cry, and you need to be very cooperative and disciplined, and we need to go to the border. So they lose that sense of childhood and game and play. And that is what we tried to do when we met them at the border and then in the refugee camps.
That's beautiful. And I imagine it's the same for the adults. Even though they already are adults, they're losing a lot of that spirit as well because of the difficult situation. And even in hospitals, if you have your child in a hospital needing care, that can be a heavy time.
Yeah. So I have to say that, first of all, I bought this nose from Chad and the Red Nose Factor, which is an amazing nose. And I found out that this nose is a superpower. So we all go and see Marvel movies, and we see superheroes in capes and getting green and large and wearing all these sort of costumes. But we here in our normal life, we have a superpower, and that is this nose. And this nose creates like a bubble where we can live a normal life. We can have some sanity in these times of chaos. And this nose allows people to break down all their barriers and all their prejudice thinking and become a child again, and to smile again and to play again. And we saw this in the border, where all these not families came, only mothers and children, because all the fathers stayed in Ukraine to fight. They come and they're so worried that everybody's there, and we have all the suitcase and everything, and then they see us, and suddenly we bring sanity into all this chaos, and a chance for them to let go for a second and not hold on tight, and play and laugh, and we remind them what they're fighting for, because not all your life, you're not going to be all your life during times of crisis and war. It is temporary. It could be very long, but it's temporary. And there is life, and life should be celebrated. And this nose reminds them that what they're fighting for, and in that time where they're with us, it's like a bubble where you can enable them to feel, to let their emotions out, to cry, to laugh, to play. And it was an amazing thing to see.
That's beautiful. It really, the nose reminds them that there's hope, that there's so much more beyond this, that they will get back to a life of joy and love, and it's not all forgotten. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because I don't speak any Russian, any Ukraine, any Moldova. I don't speak that. I only speak English and Hebrew.
Right.
And when I come there, I speak the language of the clown, which is a language of game and feelings and emotions and just pure stupidity, and everybody can connect to that.
Yeah.
And with the adults, we try to be an amplifier to their feelings. So if they're crying, then we will exaggerate their cry and feel with them. And if there's pain, we feel pain. We do that with a lot of post-traumatic people that we meet here in Israel when there's bombings and missiles and stuff like that. So that's the work with the adults, is to tell them it's okay for you to feel, and whatever you're feeling is great. And with the kids, it's to play again, because a kid does not need to be in war. No kid needs to be in a war. A kid needs to be a kid, and a kid needs to smile and laugh and play. And that's what we do with them. And we saw, like, there's one story that was so amazing and powerful, was that a family came from the border, and we started to have fun with the kids, and they started to laugh, and the mother heard laughter for the first time in 2 weeks. And then she just cried. So we looked at her, and me and my friend Buzz, we came and we hugged her, and then we said, okay, everybody come for a group hug, a family hug. And we had like 9 people all did this huge hug together. And that mother cried because finally she heard her son laugh again. And she saw his normal being again coming out after all that time of hardship.
Wow. Tears of joy. Tears of joy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful about the difference between how you would approach the adults and how you would approach the children. You come in with a little bit of a plan. And how is the response for other adults to that kind of the emotional part, the saying okay, that it's okay to have those emotions? Is that, I mean, that's not as easy for everybody to express those emotions, you know? And so can you tell me more about that kind of response you got from the adults?
Yeah, so the adults are more hard to connect to, of course, because they have all their, like, what they thought about clowns before, and they're also in the middle of this terrible tragedy. So a lot of the time it was a lot of suspicion in the beginning, and stepping back. But when they saw us work with the kids and they saw how they opened to us and they laughed, then they wanted to join. And it was pretty fast when they saw them smiling and said, okay, I also want to smile again and laugh again. So we even saw the soldiers come, the Moldovan police officers come and share the laughs that were there. But it took them a little more time. But they gradually went in, and they also wanted to play. They wanted to see. If we did some childhood play with the kids, then I did some funny magic tricks to the adults. Like, I don't know, see this thumb? I take the thumb. Oh my God. And we told them there's new corona tests coming in Moldova. You take your finger, and then you put it in orange juice, and I don't know what happens. As we adapted to like humor adult and kids adult.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I noticed in the photos a lot of people still wearing masks. Is that something that you guys are worried about? What is the situation with coronavirus there? And also your own safety, I think, is something I'm interested in, keeping you guys safe emotionally and physically. Do you guys go in with into a place like that? Do you go in with a little bit of a plan and protocols for keeping yourself safe?
Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the way we dressed. It was -7 Celsius, which maybe is like 40 or 30 Fahrenheit. It was very cold. You saw us, we were with coats and hats and like neck warmers and gloves. It was so cold. And just think about my situation. I'm thinking about the families and the kids and babies who were supposed to walk the borders by foot when it was snowing, and it was crazy. It was so cold. And it's very interesting to do clowning in such intense weather, and also in like a 20-yard situation, like from the border to the buses. That's your place to do the clowning. And there's police and there's armed officers next to you. So it was very interesting to do the clowning there and to adapt. So we did keep ourselves warm, temperature speaking, but emotionally speaking, we did always have, we were 3 clowns at a time, and we always had one clown that was in charge of telling us when to take breaks. Like he's like, Ariel, you've been working for an hour, sit down, go drink something, and then come back. And every night we used to go to eat dinner, and we used to like ventilize and talk about what we saw and what we felt. And those talks were very, very good for ventilation and to bring all those emotions out. Because, and also I can tell on myself that during the time that I was there, I was in character, and I was doing all these things, these magic tricks and everything. But only when I landed back in Israel, then it started to sink in, all these crazy, heartbreaking stories that we heard. And so I did feel the need to talk to everyone I saw, and put posts on Facebook, and that helped me a little bit with all the things that I experienced. Okay. Wow. You need to find people to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, even just performing in clown all by itself is an exhausting effort, and to be doing it at the service of people who need so much, with them in mind, I imagine it's double exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah, but like you feel that there's nobody there who's caring for this. You see, and then you feel like you have so much responsibility, because the people there are taking care of organizing a bus and organizing maybe a warm blanket and a place to stay, but nobody is there responsible for their being, their emotional state. Like we didn't see a lot of psychologists and social workers there. So we have that intense responsibility that I felt, and it was crazy. Like you always felt like you were doing something very meaningful. And then when you come back and you leave that place, like your life seems meaningless for a couple of days. Like I need to be there. Like my heart is still there, even when I'm here for over a week now. So what I've been doing, channeling this, I've been talking to people, but also there's a lot of refugee camps that were set up here in Israel. So we do go as medical clowns to those centers, and we have like a 3-hour shifts there.
For specifically for Ukrainians right now?
Yeah. Ukrainian refugees. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Can you tell me a little bit about, I understand with the Dream Doctors, you go through a pretty intensive training in therapeutics, I guess, in preparation to do this. So if somebody wants to join the Dream Doctors, what is that training like?
So what the Dream Doctors does is they take actors and street performers. And those are the main people who join Dream Doctors. It's not everyone who can come. It's people who have experience in the street, managing a crowd, having that emotional intelligence to know when to come to somebody and when you need to step back, and maybe this is not a good cooperation or a relationship. Nobody's cooperating, so you move on. So you need that street intelligence of an actor, of a street performer, and then they take those talents and then they adapt it to hospital life, which means how can I use my talents and the clown in order to take a therapy and make it go into the right direction, and not interfere, and not to cause more trauma. So the training is how to find your clown, your inner clown, how to be sensitive to a family, to see the situation. And now, only after a couple of years of experience, you have that sensitivity. When you enter a room, it takes us like a second to understand what the situation is like. Is the father mad at the kid? Is he just been to a horrible procedure, or he's about to go to the operating room, and what he needs and stuff like that. And that comes only with experience inside the hospital. But that's the training. The training is finding your outfit, finding your name, your clown name, finding your walk, your talents, and how to shine as a clown and help contribute to a therapy session. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. I imagine that music is a significant part of what all of you clowns do. Not every clown is musical, obviously, but many of them are. Can you tell me a little bit? I don't know. Are you a musician? And else, you know, how does music play into the situations that you get into?
So it's like you said, there's such a variety of clowns, and it's so beautiful to see. Like there's shy clowns that they come in with like a puppet, and they say hello, and the interaction is only with the puppet. And there's big people just coming, oh, look, I can juggle, and I can, I don't know, do these crazy stuff. And I can walk into walls and everything, and slapstick comedy. And there's also a lot of musicians, mainly ukulele and guitars, and how do you call this thing?
Oh, the harmonica.
Harmonica. And that is very beautiful also with adults and also babies. Because a lot of time when we come to like premature babies that come out, then you can't really interact with them. But when they hear the music, you see a change in their body and their muscle tense and everything. And now there's dream doctors in Poland on the Ukrainian border, and they're sending amazing videos of music, of parades that they lead with the kids. And also they come to an adult and they start to play, and then that adult starts to sing in this beautiful opera voice. And you can see that, where would this come about if not for the clown? Like when this father starts to sing in the middle of a refugee center. It's so beautiful. And I saw a lot of improvisation skits that a clown would do some music, and then he hands the microphone to the kid, and then he needs to improvise or repeat exactly what he does and mirror him. And so a lot of videos are coming just like that, and they're beautiful to see. So music is an amazing tool to use as a clown, because also music is universal, just like miming and clowning. And so music is so universal. Everyone loves music, and that's a beautiful way to connect between human beings that have trouble communicating through language.
Yeah, I think that seems to be a key part of it, maybe, that the success of these clowns going into places anywhere in the world, because it is universal, and the emotions are also universal, right? And you can go in there, you can easily touch on an emotion without needing to describe it at all. I think that's beautiful, and I can see how that would elicit those emotions from other people. Positive emotions, heavy emotions, but very, very useful in the moment, right? That's beautiful, and I can see you bringing families tighter together, you know, in the moment. Yeah, that's
It's,
beautiful.
it's so beautiful. Just, I hope everyone who's listening to just open their hearts, just be with an open heart, and don't think all these prejudiced things about a person. Like, a clown in Israel, it's so difficult because I can come into a room and there is religious tension and political tension and ethnical tension. There's ultra-Orthodox Jews and there's secular Jews, and there's Palestinians and Israelis, and there's so many different types of people I can meet in the same room in a hospital. But when I come without these prejudiced thoughts, and I just come with my heart, and I want to play, or I want to just bring joy, then people can connect to that, and people make connections inside the room. I can come and make like a skit or show a couple of magic tricks in a room where there's a Palestinian and an Israeli, and I can come the next day and I can see that they're talking in the hallway, and they made a connection because they had that clown to mediate between them. So it all comes down to just being positive with an open heart, and I could solve so many problems, so many problems.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I mean, that's the story of America right now, is this division between politics, and and we're always searching for ways to bring the two sides together. And yeah, the clown can do it, right? The clown is in that space, right? There's this zone where all human beings overlap, and the clown is in that space and invites people in. Beautiful.
What's so beautiful is that the clown is a 3-year-old boy or 3-year-old girl. They don't see if someone is black or white, or if he's Arab or he's German or he's Russian or Ukraine. He doesn't see that at all. He just is curious, and he's fun, and he wants to play, and he wants to make connections between people. He just wants a connection with the human that's in front of him. He wants to be a friend. And that's the clown to me.
I imagine you do get a little bit of alone time at chance, maybe in the hospital, and a moment when you can sit down with a particular person and just connect one-on-one. Do you find times like that, and what are those like?
What I love is I think it's called in English the ripple effect. I love to have my time with the security guard and have some jokes with him, and even teach him how to juggle. And then he laughs, and he says goodbye to me. Hi. And then a person enters the hospital, he's laughing. Says, hi, how are you? Good morning. And then I interact with the cleaning staff, which all day long are like maybe cleaning like this. And then I do a magic trick to them. And that's hilarious. And then somebody walks through the hall and they're laughing. And that positive reaction brings another positive reaction, brings another smile, a good spirit. And that's a ripple effect, that you do something with one person and it could change the whole atmosphere of a department, of a hospital, of a room. So yeah, a lot of times there's no treatments and I need to walk the halls. That's the various kind of clowning that you have in a hospital. You have the therapy, you have the room, you have the hall, and then you have all the normal people just working at the hospital.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I haven't done any hospital clowning myself, but I never really thought about that, about how much even the staff can benefit from your presence.
Yeah, just think about walking the hall and there's somebody just cleaning like this. And then you're walking and he's like, hey, I just cleaned here. And then you feel horrible. And then you walk, and then the secretary's like, what's your name? Okay. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock. Sit over there. Boom, boom. And it's all this like tension, unnecessary tension. Right. But I make the secretary laugh. I do so many TikToks with the secretary. It's insane. She's always happy. The guy, yeah, go, poop, 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 poop. Oh, what do you need? Oh, she's gonna be right with you. And changes the whole atmosphere. It's so important.
Yeah, I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And so, how much time would you spend in a day? Do you go? I know you obviously you need to take breaks while you're there in an environment like that, like you were saying. But what is a typical day? Are you there for a few hours? Are you there for longer?
So we usually have 2 shifts a week. Some have 3 hours and some have 4 hours. So I have 4 hours every 2 days. Twice a week. I mean, I go for 4 hours and I take my breaks, when I find it. When I find time, I sit down and do my personal stuff and go back. That's the life of a medical clown.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
I want to hear another story.
Yes, please tell me.
Yeah. As one very emotional story that happened in Ukraine was that we started to play with this child, me and the clown Buzz, and then the father, who got a permission to go out of Ukraine, he tells us, listen, you better be careful because this little boy is a champion in boxing. We're like, what? Champion in boxing? Whoa, you know what? Let's do a medal ceremony, just like the Olympics. And we had like this $1 medal that we have. So we did this huge ceremony and we placed it over his head and we made him a champion and everything. And then we look and we see the father starts to cry. And we ask him, why are you crying? And he says, he's a boxing champion and we had to leave all his medals back home and couldn't take them with him. And he was so sad. And now you gave him a medal for him to have. Wow. So we also gave the father a medal. And there was one very crazy story that a kid was starting to cry. And I don't know any words in Russian. So I asked my friend, how do you say a hug in Russian? And he told me, and I spread up my arm and I said, you want a hug? And she said yes. And she came on me and we hugged for, I don't know, 10 long minutes. And I told her mother, where's her father? And she says, he's fighting in Kiev. So I said, can we call him up, like FaceTime him? And she said, let's try. And she calls him up. And we put him on FaceTime and it was insane. We were talking to this guy in Kiev and his family was here. And I did all this stupid magic tricks, made him laugh. And we told him to be strong and that we have his family and that they're doing fine. These are the situations that you get to see there on the border and also inside the camps.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, you give the father an understanding that his family is safe, that he's being taken care of by somebody who's not just giving them a blanket, right? You're not just giving them a blanket, but you're making sure that they have they have some joy in their hearts. I'm sure that must have made him feel really, really good about where his family was, and also about what he's doing, the sacrifice that he's making. I can't imagine. And then to have the daughter be able to see her father and know that he's okay. That's beautiful.
So many levels. It's just beautiful.
So I see you in some of those pictures getting on the bus, and that must be an interesting situation. Are those bus rides long?
Yeah. First of all, before they came to that bus, they were walking and driving for hours and 1,000 kilometers. It's crazy where they came from.
Yeah.
And the journeys that they took just to get to that bus. The bus drive is about, I think, 3 hours from the border to the capital of Moldova, where most of the camps are, the refugee camps. And it's heartbreaking because there's so many old people that they have trouble walking, and they have trouble going to the bathroom, and all these babies. And it's just heartbreaking to see. And to we we were at a place where we received them, like the buses came and we helped them off the buses and also take their luggage to a safe place. And we also there when we found them a flight to Israel and also to other countries. As that was a different ride. They were happy then. They have a solution, a temporary solution. They were happy, but when they came, it was heartbreaking.
So they're walking, they're walking on foot to that border spot that you're at, right at the checkpoint before they get on the bus. Everybody's walked to that point,
or walked, or hitchhiked, or took a bus, or there's all these like small humanitarian corridors that the Russians open every once in a while. They just hurry up and go, and sometimes they can go west, sometimes they could go south, and it means it's the difference between kilometers is so much. Like, let's say there's somewhere who's close to the Poland, but they only opened a southern corridor. They need to go so many miles down. And there's also a lot of rescue missions. Like we heard that there's, first of all, it's insane story that happened, but it happened. I know the people and I know what happened. So this is firsthand story. When we were at that place where that girl hugged me, then the mother comes to the other clown that was with me. Her name is Shemesh, which is sun in Hebrew. And she said, listen, my husband is in Odessa and he has cancer and he's stuck there and we need to get him out. He needs to get treatment. So Shemesh, the clown, goes to the chief rabbi, who he's the one who brought us to Moldova. And he said, listen, there's this guy in Odessa. And he says, okay, I know a guy that maybe can go and get him. And he makes a couple of calls and this guy drives in, takes him and brings him out. And now they're all in Israel and he's getting treatment for cancer. Insane story.
Wow.
But these are the things that happen. They need to, all these rescue. They heard about a woman who gave birth at a cinema. So they go with a car and they get her and the newborn and they smuggle them out. It's just insane that these people, it's also something to understand. A month ago, everything was normal. It wasn't like in Israel that there's always tension and always there's wars every couple of years. Everything was normal. And then in one day, boom, all your life is reduced to a suitcase. You say goodbye to the father and you go to the border. It's so, the trauma is so immediate and it's insane. Like you don't even have time to prepare.
Yeah. What was your guys' response time, and when you heard the invasion had started? Were your people, did you have plans to go? But if it happened already, and were you ready to go? I mean, how does that happen?
So I'll put it into two perspectives. One, I am part of the IDF humanitarian relief field hospitals that during times of crisis, let's say there's an earthquake in Nepal or Haiti or a hurricane in Texas, then the IDF, they sent the Israeli army, they send a field hospital to these places, and it's like a hospital. There's an operating room, X-ray machines, everything. It's this huge hospital inside tents. So I'm part of that unit in the army. So ever since the Russian invasion started, we were on standby. We want to go, but we don't know if the state of Israel will send, if it will be with uniform, without uniform. And it was postponed Wednesday, Friday, next Sunday. And then what happened is that chief rabbi of Moldova, he went on Facebook and said, listen, we're getting all these refugees here and they're they're not well. Like they're very sad. There were even a couple of suicidal attempts, and we need people to cheer these people up. So Shemesh, the clown that was with me, she called him up and said, listen, we're medical clowns. Would you need our help? And he said it was a Sunday. And he said, tomorrow night at 8 p.m., I'm putting you on a flight and you're coming here. 24 hours. So she called me because she knew I was already wanting to go because I was in that IDF delegation. And she said, can you come tomorrow? And I said, yes. And then we called Buzz, who speaks Russian, and he said, yes. And in 24 hours, we were on a plane.
Wow.
It was like that.
Wow.
And now every 6 days, 3 more clowns are flying. Some to Poland, some to Moldova, which is amazing, amazing. A lot of people are donating money and making this happen.
Yeah, let's touch on that. If people watching this would like to donate to, where would they donate to directly to the Dream Doctors, or how would they do that?
Yeah, go to dreamdoctors.org and you will find there a website in English, and there will be a place for you to donate money for this specific crisis in the Ukraine. Yeah. To send more clowns. It is so needed, really. You should see the faces of the adults and the kids and all the grandmothers there. And it's so heartwarming to see these interactions between the clown and people in trauma.
Yeah, that's great. I have there's a lot of clowns in my community here in the U.S. that are communicating with each other, saying, who's going? Does anybody know who's going? How can we go? Because they would love to go, but of course we're a lot farther away from that crisis than you are. There's a lot of clowns here who would love to be able to help. And if we can't get there, then perhaps everybody out there should consider donating a little bit of money, because I'm sure it goes a long way in bringing a clown closer to those people in need. Yeah,
but also if it can make people more active, then I will tell you examples of, I've met a lot of Americans there that raised money from neighbors or communities and flew by themselves, rented a car in Romania and went to the border and bought suitcases of toys and blankets and stuff like that with the money that they raised. And they were there to hand it out, and we helped them. And so even one person could do a huge change.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And also I heard that America will also open their gates for 100,000 or 200,000 Ukrainian refugees. So maybe you can even help there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Those centers.
Yeah, whenever we find out where exactly they're going to be, then we can go there. That's a great point. Yeah. And that's really amazing. So when somebody just shows up on their own, I'm sure they're welcomed. But if you're not part of an organization or anything, you can just show up and say, hey, I'm a clown to help these people, and everybody's going to just be like, come on in. Does that seem like the case?
We need you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see, I have a very funny story about the video you showed earlier. I don't know if you understood, but there was a clown that was holding this huge piece with all these lollipops.
Yeah.
So how that came about was that we wanted to go to the border, and the Israeli organization that was there said, we have no room for you today. So I met this American journalist. His name is Andrew Kimmel, and he told me he rented a car. So I called him up and I said, you want to drive us to the border? And he said, yeah, I just bought a suitcase filled with blankets and like hand warmers and stuff like that. Let's go hand it out at the border. I said, great. So we started driving, and on the way, he stopped for some coffee at a gas station. So we picked some stuff. We went to pay, and then Andrew said, no, it's on me. And if you see something for the refugees, buy it. So me and the other clown were walking in the gas station, and we found this huge plastic thing filled with lollipops. So we came to the counter and said, we want this whole thing. And they were in shock. She's like, I can't give you the whole thing. So no, we want the whole thing. So she called her boss, and the boss called the factory, and the factory called the proprietor and everything. And they said yes. And we took it to the border, and we just handed out lollipops.
Wow.
So that was all private initiative of one person that had a car, and he brought 2 clowns and all those lollipops.
Well, no, I mean, even watching that video, I can tell just that lollipop was bringing smiles, bringing smiles, just handing that lollipop to a kid who's just walked so long and been through what they've been through. I mean, it's just a huge gesture, right?
Mm-hmm. It was beautiful, and so much fun.
Yeah. So are you going to be going back? What's your next plan? Are you going back to the border, or where are you going next?
Now my wife is there in Poland. She's a midwife, but I think she's there just as personnel to help people with suitcases and everything, and also maybe some medical stuff. So she'll come back Monday, and then we have this Jewish holiday of Passover. And if this situation continues, and I hope it doesn't, maybe right after Passover, I'll try and go again. Like I said, my heart is there. I don't know how to disconnect myself from what I saw and who I met.
Wow. Well, that's beautiful. Yeah, I guess what else would you like to say? I do want to wrap up and give you time. I know it's late in the evening there for you. I want to thank you again for doing this. The time difference is 11 or 12 hours between us, so it's morning here and it's night there. But I really do appreciate you being here.
I love doing this also because it's some ventilation for me, but also to tell you the amazing work that your nose has been doing all over the world. And a lot of our dream doctors have your nose, and it's so it's easy to put on, and it's so comfortable, and we love it. And also nose warmers during the no. Aval, what I heard a conversation between Anderson Cooper and Stephen Colbert about the importance of being a witness of war, which is that you have to tell people's story, because the most heartbreaking thing is that this would happen and nobody knows about it, or nobody helps. Like somebody who dies in vain, or dies and nobody even knows why he died or how he died. It's so heartbreaking, and things shouldn't be that way. So me being there, seeing what I saw, and then I can talk to you, and people listen, and they get a sense of what's happening. And some people just get the information, some people become active, and some people donate. And if it makes that happen, it's so important. And it means that my trip there was meaningful. So I'm very happy that also you offered to talk to me. And that's why I say yes. And I want to tell that story, and I wanted people to know what's happening.
Well, I really appreciate that. And, that's my motto. And the whole reason that keeps me going here is to help clowns like you do the good work, and I'm really honored to play a tiny little red part, right, in what you're doing. Sure. So it's really fantastic, and I'm honored to speak with you. I really am.
Yes. And the original job of a clown was the jester, and his job in front of the king was to tell the truth. To tell the truth that nobody else had the guts to tell him. And maybe this is our duty in these times, to tell the truth and tell the stories and get it out there, and hopefully to make a change for the better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you, I would love to do this again. And, you know, obviously, of course, we will pray that this doesn't continue for too long. But I really agree with you that the stories need to get out there, that the stories are the key thing. And I can just feel these stories, how they're affecting you, and I'd love to get them out there more. So maybe we can keep in touch and touch base again soon, and we can share more of these stories. That would be really, really crucial work that we can do.
I would love to.
Cool.
I would love to. Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll wrap up. Thank you so much, Ariel.
Yes.
Again.
We're going to just put the nose back down and say, Litraut. Shalom, shalom. It was an honor to be here and interviewed by such a professional. Really, it was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We'll talk again soon, Ariel. Take care of yourself. Get some rest, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. And really open hearts and love people and share the joy. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye.